Welcome to Situational Shift, a show where we decide what the best car is for certain situations. Today's situation is track racing, and the car we've chosen for that is the Lancer Evolution 10. Of Evos is actually quite interesting. So let's talk about how it originated from a car called the Lancer, and then they made it into a rally car, so it was called the Lancer Evolution, and they made one all the way from the Evo 1 through Evo 10. Now Evo 10 is the last Evo that they made. They stopped production of it in 2016, so the last Evo 10 rolled off assembly lines in 2016. About the specs of this car. So stock from the Mitsubishi website has a claim 0 to 60 of 5.2. The horsepower is 270 plus, I would say. Then after that comes the foot-pound torque, where it's 300 plus, and it comes stock all-wheel drive, so it's perfect if you want to track it or even drag race it if you really want. Okay, so for the first time on this show, we are going to have a guest, the owner of this vehicle, Noah, and he's going to talk about our modifications that he has on this.
Yeah, so it's going to seem like a laundry list of things, but it really is not that invasive of the car. That's what's great about the platform of this vehicle. You can just do mainly bolt-on stuff. This vehicle, the motor has never been apart. It's completely 100% stock internal of the vehicle. So I'm just going to kind of go the things I've done to the car in the best order that I can remember that I actually did them, since this car's been brand new. So we started with full intake system, all new hard intercooler piping, and an upgraded intercooler, which you really can't see, but nice, looks really stock, fits in a stock location. It's just way thicker and bigger than the factory one. Back in the back here, it's really hard to see, and it's kind of sneaky. But if you look, this thing actually has an upgraded turbo manifold on it, and the stock heat shield still goes over. You can barely see it's got an MAP manifold on it and an upgraded turbo system. So it's kind of nice. Still remains very stock looking, and for the average person who really wouldn't know, it's got upgraded bypass or blow-off valve, people may call them, or whatever, because the factory one could not hold the amount of boost that this car now produces, which is around 33 psi. Also hidden down here is just the catch can system to alleviate all the crankcase pressure out of the vehicle. It just goes, it's really stock and stealth. It just goes out of the valve cover, both sides of the valve covers, and down in there. The clutch in this car is not stock as well. We can't obviously view that, but the stock clutch won't hold up to the current power it makes. It makes about 460 horse to all four wheels, or depending on what dyno you're on, or on a Mustang dyno in the 430s, upper 430s. So, the brakes on this vehicle are still stock. I didn't do any upgraded rotors or anything like that, because it's phenomenal stock. That's what makes this vehicle so great as well. I do have some suspension in it, very little suspension mods though. It's just got some Swift Spec R springs, and then some upgraded bushings and things like that. Interior obviously probably went through, but got just a couple monitoring gauges, wideband, oil pressure, and then the Cobb access port, which is what allows the vehicle to be tuned. This car was actually tuned by Ron at RS Motors. But the access port is nice because you can view since the fire's up here. You can go to gauges and you can set all the different things you want to view live, and you can actually you can data log it if you want, or it's called what's called a tattletale. So like if it's on or running, it will down here it will store the peak boost it made or how much knock it made, things like that. Air intake temp. That's how I have it configured. You can configure it many ways. So, but that's also what's used to flash the car. Shifter, pretty much all stock, whatever. Exhaust is just 3-inch from the turbo all the way back. That's mainly about it. I'm sure there's some stuff we're forgetting, but that's the gist of the mod. But it makes it for a really, really, really fun car.
So let's talk about the interior of this car. First things first, we're going to talk about the steering wheel. It's got all these buttons to do whatever you want with the stereo, or you can even answer calls, decline them, whatever. Typically for a track car, you won't really be messing with those if you're just going to track it, but if you also want to daily it, it's a nice little thing to have. This one, however, is a 5-speed manual. Every Evo that you'll own is typically going to be a 5-speed. The other ones are not really legal here, so 5 speeds are what we're working with. We have a traditional e-brake. It's just your standard e-brake. Pull it, it goes back. Push it, goes forward. Stuff like that. Now, some fancier things we could talk about are the boost. Obviously, boost gauges are for your turbo, and we have an oil pressure gauge here. Things that you're gonna want to have in a track car, because those are gauges you want to constantly be looking at. Let's talk about the tuning module. I mean, what is there to say? It's a tuning module. If you want to know more about tuning and stuff, we did cover that in another video, so I recommend you go and check that one out. Last but not least, climate control. Once again, if you're going to daily it, climate control is a very nice thing to have. And then, let's just say for track, a lot of people take it out because weight slows your car down. You don't want it. The bucket seats too keep you in place. These ones are very nice. They're heated, believe it or not, which is not something you see every day in some Recaro seats, but it keeps you in place. It does the job. You can adjust how much it hugs you, stuff like that. And then your sunroof too. It's a sunroof. I mean, not much else to say other than that, but if you want to go for a nice stroll down the freeway, why not crack the sunroof, right? So let's talk about the stereo in this thing. This stereo is super nice, very nice screen, all these buttons, and the stereo is actually perfect for listening to my favorite podcast, Go Talk. Check that out, JHS Creative Communications on Spotify. They got plenty of other podcasts, and also on the YouTube channel, plenty of interesting videos you can watch on there too. Okay, so now that we're actually driving the car, let's talk about the feeling. It feels like you're in place. You're not going to move. The seats keep you nice and sturdy in place. And when you're taking corners, you barely move at all. Due to it being all-wheel drive, depending on the tires you have on it, there's a lot of different factors that go into when you're driving it. For track, obviously you have more of a track setup, but since this is a car that we take out on the street, it's not exactly set up for just straight up racing it on the track. But once again, there's a bunch of factors that go into it. So this car runs on E85. Basically, it's so you get more power without actually using race gas, and you gotta have upgraded fuel system, and it's gotta be tuned to run on E85 for that. But without using race gas, it's a great option for that. Okay, so as we talked about before, it does have the upgraded turbo, which makes more power, but it takes longer to spool up. So we'll show a quick example of that. Like that. So it takes longer for it to obviously spool up, but it does make more power, so it kind of balances out. So one of the big things that make it great track performance. This car has 3 speeds, here, there, and gone. I'm telling you, this thing can bomb into the corners. It's got plenty of speed to get ups, so even if you have to brake, big turbo, no reason you should be slowing down. Thank you for watching this episode of Situational Shift, and do me a favor, comment what your favorite version of the Evo is, or you can comment if you're a Subaru guy, you know, the rivalry of the century, you know. So, we'll see you in the next one. Up, Evo 10. Great track performance. This car has 3 speeds, here, there, and gone. I'm telling you, this thing can bomb into the corners. It's got plenty of speed to get ups, so even if you have to brake, big turbo, no reason you should be slowing down. Thank you for watching this episode of Situational Shift, and do me a favor, comment what your favorite version of the Evo is, or you can comment if you're a Subaru guy, you know, the rivalry of the century, you know. So, we'll see you in the next one.